Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:41. Like I said, we'll skip the pledge of allegiance. So the first item will be plans for the property to be purchased by Lee Heisman and his corporation. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor up and give it to him and let him do a little presentation.
Very good. Thank you, guys. I'll come over here to this. We got some pictures for you to make it easier. And I want to be respectful of all of your time. So if there's a moment where we talk too much about it, just speak up, of course. My name's Lee Heisman, Gary McLaren and Joe Eigler, and we own Executive Firearms. What our plan is, as we discussed, is we have a couple of plats up in the city of Talking Rock here, which we're under contract with. And what we want to do is obviously be a part of the community with our company. So as you can see with Executive Firearms, kind of our slogan is educate, train, and perform. And if you notice, the first part of it is educate. So we have a lot of plans to be a part of the community. The place that we're building out here is a private facility. So it is not a gun range. It's never going to be referred to by us, and it has never been referred to as a gun range. It's a private training facility. We plan on, with your approval, once City Hall is done, we plan on utilizing a room in City Hall to do our classroom training. So we talk about educating, and I will tell you, mostly everybody that we know in the community, I personally live in Ball Ground. We've been conducting business in Woodstock for the past 15 years now in Woodstock with our businesses, and I pretty much will tell you every person that I know owns a weapon in this state, which is wonderful. But nearly every person I know who owns a weapon doesn't exactly know what they're doing with the weapon. And that's what we've been teaching. No disrespect, sure, you're laughing, you agree with me. You'd be very shocked how many people have weapons and are not familiar with safety and how to use them appropriately. So that's what our business is about. And as you can see, this is an example of our homepage. Obviously, it talks a little about us. It shows different courses from basic handgun training, rifle training, home defense. Because what we do for our clients, when they go through multiple courses with us, we end up with a final course of coming to their home. And that's where we teach you how to clear your home in case there was a break-in. Just because you have a gun doesn't mean you want to start shooting all over your home. It goes through that wall into a child's wall. You notice everything is safety first. So coming to the home is kind of the finishing touch of our classwork and coursework. And then there's advanced courses as well. We also have in here, click to stay at the Talking Rock's own bed and breakfast and to eat at the Talking Rock's historic train delicatessen. And the plans that I know are happening in Talking Rock, and websites, you know, are very adjustable, meaning as we add more things in, and we also are going to be doing something with Biggin's Barbecue as well, where all of our lunches for any of our classes will be hosted by either the deli or Biggin's Barbecue. So we want everything to come out of Talking Rock when we talk about the bed and breakfast. We think it's really easy. I like one click. So if we have people coming into town to do a 4-hour class, and maybe they want to take 2 days in a row, we want them to stay at the bed and breakfast. So I don't want them to have to, who do I call? What do I do here to get the food? There's a click of a button. We'll collect the money online, and we'll distribute it back to the Talking Rock community. Right, that's what makes it easier for because we'll make it one click for the end user. I want somewhere to stay, I want somewhere to eat, and I want you to train me how to do what we're doing. That was kind of an overview of that. Very high end. Let me jump into being in the community and sound. And we're going to go into the map as well. So the other day, with the mayor and with Lamar Cantrell, we did sound testing. And we did actually decibel readings. Because the thing that works against you with weapons and guns is being a disturbance in the community. So what was great is the facility or the land that we're purchasing now, and when we dig our berms out, we started doing our testing yesterday. And our testing was down in the soft whisper to 20 decibel range from where we positioned ourselves on the land. Mayor was with us yesterday. When we did many tests, he said, wait, did you shoot yet? I couldn't even hear it. Now, we positioned ourselves, and I'm going to show you in the next map where you could hear it, and then we know where we're going to finally shoot. So this is just an example of what, and the depths that we took to show you that we're not going to be a disturbance to the community. This is the land that we are currently under contract with. I'm very proud of my billboards, so please bear with me. I wanted it to be easy for you guys. But this is also how we do classwork, when we teach people weapons. When we talk also, by the way,
it makes it easier for us.
Thank you, yeah, but if we're teaching weapons and we're teaching training to people, if we make it hard, they're not going to learn. In addition, when we are in your community council center and we're doing training, we have what's called dry fire. If you have to get that, I understand.
No. Okay. I just got to cut it off.
That's right. We have weapons that are actually fabricated. They're not actual usable weapons. They're plastic and metal configurations that don't hold bullets. And we use those for training out of holsters and drawing. So when we're in a classroom setting, there is no live weapons in your buildings. Do you follow me? So a lot of the training is what's called dry fire, which means it's not live. And I don't mean that it's empty weapons. These are non-functioning devices that look and feel just like weapons, that you touch them. So that's part of the training and what would make it easy. So this is the land. If you don't know about gun ranges, these are berms where you dig into the ground and you carve ground around it so bullets go into the earth. When you dig a berm, you're going to drop off 30 to 40 decibels of sound. So whatever you had heard yesterday, Mayor, it's going to drop another 20 to almost zero unless you're sitting right on site in the berm, and that's where you wear your protective ears and eyes. So this is the land. This is 136 here. The doctor is building his home there. That's the private residence. And what we did yesterday, these are the two pieces that we're under contract with now from the Wildcat. This is 125 and 125 acres, and we may end up getting the 174 as well, which is behind. I know. Our banker was out with us the other day, and he's like, I like that one in the creek. I'm like, we love the creek too. So we'll keep in the loop on that. That's potentially the future. But the last thing we want to do is, that's why we're so proactive. We want to be welcomed into the community. So why would we want to go and do this if we're not welcomed into the community? You know, so it's pieces at a time. The reason we ended up with these is because we can enter into a gate here, and these two orange areas are where we started doing our testing. So yesterday, Mayor, just for you guys can see, we all stood on the doctor's property in his backyard, and Garrett took a four-wheeler to P1. And we're talking on a cell phone. I said, Garrett, you ready? He said, I'm ready. He muted himself, pop, 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 knocked off 3 rounds into the ground. We heard it pretty loud. It was extremely loud. There's no way the doctor would be happy if we put something there. And that's what we're going to be discussing about this property. I'm not sure, Mayor, if we'll be getting this one versus just these two. Garrett then went to P2. Still heard it pretty loud, didn't we? The decibel reading was still talking voice at 40 and 50, but it still was loud. You could still hear it. We knew this is the best area. Look where it is. It's centered amongst everything. There's nothing else in the area. We ended up going to P4 and P5. Really, that 10.2 number is the perfect location. It's got the perfect surroundings, natural. He started shooting. Mayor said, I don't hear anything. Then we had to do a cell phone, and we heard him shoot, waited 2 seconds, and you heard literally the sound of a ticking watch. And we laughed about it, didn't we? Oh, yeah. And we do offer to the council tonight, or at any point, if you want to, we can all go up together and do the same testing just for your ears. Just so you know it's important. The last thing we want to do is we purchase these tracks now under contract. We're going to be putting another $350,000 into development of that. And when I say development of that, when we take the road up with clients, because clients will arrive here with the parking lot, we'll put in here. They'll park their vehicles, 8 to 10 people. Our staff will come down with Mavericks or four-wheelers. They'll pick them up, because remember what I said, safety first. No one is traversing this terrain alone. We don't want that, because even though we're in berms, we want safety. There'll be no camping, Mayor, which we discussed. We just don't want the risk of someone camping and staying an extra day, and then they walk somewhere that they shouldn't be walking. And by the way, shooting will only occur here, which is you'll see, dedicated. So our staff comes down to pick up for the class. We take them up through, obviously, the beautiful views, which is where we'll be having our lunch spots, where, and I don't know if you've been up in this area, but that's a 360 view of all the mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we're going to put some seating up there, of course. And that's where our classes will have lunch after, so we can dialogue and talk about what they learned that day. Come around the corner here to another beautiful view of the mountains back here, and down in that berm, you're going to look down at 100 yards with AstroTurf. You look and say, AstroTurf? You know, the green, why AstroTurf? Number one, it looks pretty, and I'll explain to you why we're going to that degree. But number two, it's easier to pick up your brass. I'm also not interested, we'll be owning this property, I don't want to litter up the ground. So go, brass being the bullet shells and the casings that are there. It's still our land, it's in your city, and we want it to be pretty. We don't want it littering the land, we want to pick it up. So it's a heck of a lot easier for our team to pick up the brass with machinery than on natural grass. Yeah. Natural grass, you're going to spend hours picking it up. So when you turn the corner, you're going to see this beautiful AstroTurf with markings, because you're going to be doing tactical training as they go to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels. You understand? They'll know where to go to. When they're done their class for that morning or that afternoon, they'll come back for lunch. We drive them and escort them, only escorted, down to their parking, and they leave. And we hope they come back. There is nobody that's going to experience that and not come back, with all due respect. Have a nice lunch overlooking a Biggins or a deli, sit back at the bed and breakfast, and come back to the town of Talking Rock. And Lamar's been so instrumental, he's not here this evening. We even talked about putting Lamar on our website as the premier place for property, and we'll be telling them that as well. We would like to promote him, because I guarantee you when the CEOs and executives that we work with intimately, that we train currently now, come up into Talking Rock, I think it's the prettiest place. I live in Wall Ground, so I'm a little, prejudiced to it. I love this area. Anybody we brought up here, this is beautiful. How can I get land up here? How can I be a part of the community? So part of discussing with the mayor was we came into this, and I've been discussing this for, I think, a few weeks now with you, Mayor, and I said, listen, we want to do this. We want your blessing. At the same time, we can be very private and quiet. We don't have to have any documentation. We don't have any logos anywhere. We don't have to do anything. We can have just an empty gate. We can have our clients come in. We can take it up here, and no one's even going to know they're working, and we can have them leave. We don't want to disturb the community of Talking Rock. It's the first thing I said to you. He said, well, what's your other plan? I said, but if you want to get put on the map, I don't know how familiar you are with the film industry in Georgia. So there's film credits that people take advantage of. And Georgia now is the #1 place in the country for the amount of, and we talked about that, it's the #1 place in the country for the amount of production of movies, film, TV. Even more than California because of the film credits. So in California, there's a facility that I worked intimately with, is Tarrant Tactical. If you ever look online at the John Wick movies, that's where they train the movie stars. We have a litany of connections in our other industries, and I've already discussed with them about, hey, training up here. We'll probably have a lot of people that will be coming up from TV's movies. Some people you may know, some people might be just like a TV series like CSI, but they still have to learn how to look like they know what they're doing. And that's what the training is, because on the movie set, they're not really shooting, but they have to look capable. So I asked the mayor, how much do you want to be on the map? You know, do you want us to be quiet and just have this, which is fine? By the way, we love the property, and we really just love having that amount of acreage. So there's beautiful trails up there and tracks, and I know this weekend I'll be bringing my family up to show them what we're doing, and that's really just peaceful as well, but we have the ability to do this. But then I said, what do you want to do? And he said, we want to potentially go on the map with this. If that's what you want, then you've come to the right, or we've come to the right place, because that's kind of our second nature. Still executive, not open, only by classwork, and you asked when there might be some classes. Originally, most CEOs and executives' abilities are usually on a weekend. So we're thinking a Saturday morning class at 10 or 11, and a 2 o'clock class ending at 5 or 6. There's going to be no evening shooting. Why would we do that? People need to learn basic firearms. Could be Sunday after church, starting after church and then a second session after that. And then during the week, there might be some private sessions based upon, if I have a movie studio or a TV studio that says, hey, we're here on a Tuesday, you need to do this now, then the question goes back to the city. Well, they have trailers. Where do you want to park them? Do you want them to come into the city? Do you want them to come up here? We want to promote the city. So the good part, just an FYI about us and myself and Judd and Garrett, who has been in the military, has been a sniper in the military, and will be leading our team of all of our trainers. We have a number of people that Garrett works with. We've had a number of businesses in the community for over 20 years. We just love the area, and we want to incorporate this into the area. This, obviously it will provide revenue generation, but our main focus here is to be a part of this community. So the fact that we have an ability and possibly be welcomed allows us, to really explore this. So I hope did I answer most things, Mayor?
Well, yes, and the reason I was asking the frequency of the classes was, part of the bed and breakfast, and the deli, because like you want to make sure you can plan around that, or how much traffic are we thinking we're going to have, so that the deli and Biggins and everybody else in the community can figure out the impact it's going to have on the businesses.
And we can control that. Like I said, so it is a flexible component here. What I mean by that is, let's just pretend the community say that, again, we're closing on this land in another 30, 40 days, right? So it's not happening, and then I got to do some construction on it, which will take another month or two to do it right and make it look appropriate, and you're all welcome. We're very open, we're open, come and see us anytime. Don't come unannounced, because we want to make sure everything's safe, but come see anytime, and it's an open door policy. Let's just pretend tomorrow we had courses, and you guys weren't ready. City wasn't ready, bed and breakfast isn't up, deli's not up, Biggins can do stuff. We can still have people pull in here, take a class, Biggins can supply lunch, and they can get in their car and go home. So understand, it is really based on your speed and what you want to do. So we can literally have multiple classes every day. No one's going to know we're there. They come in, they come out. How much do you want is going to be up to you. And we would just be communicating with you to say, hey, we can notice that we're booked this week, or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Well, I think it's going to depend on how fast the bed and breakfast or the deli or
That's exactly
anything,
right.
as far as that goes. But we don't want to put all that money in there, and we're only talking 1 or 2 classes a week, because I think,
This is a 7-day-a-week thing if we can.
Right, okay.
To answer your question, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I need. That's what I need.
So Garrett is a partner in our business, of course. Just so you're aware, this is a full-time job for Garrett for our 3 other trainers, and they're just salivating waiting for it. Do you get my point? So I was respectful in the sense of how much do you want us to be involved? Oh, 7 days a week we would love to have. At least 5, if not 7, number one. Number 2, an important component also to understand is, as we develop this, we just have to get it to the level of safety first, as I mentioned. Another component, we need access to your city hall when you're finished, so we can do the internal courses. We would love for you to allow us to put our logos and our information out in the community. Whereas listening about, we're safety first, and there's a fence. I'd love to sponsor a fence, put our logo on the fence, learn about us, look us up, have something in the community. Because it isn't, again, about, I need to perform at the end. No, I need to educate and train first. We'll have women courses only, but also co-ed courses. So I feel it's important for women in the community to know that and to say, I feel comfortable.
So, as far as that training, like I was telling Randy, at our church, we're affiliated with the firing range down here at Carlton Wilson has, and he has trained like all of our senior citizens. It has started a wave in Jasper as far as, my question, have you done this anywhere else? Do you have another facility like this?
So no, this is where we had the opportunity. We train currently, we do the exact same thing. Garrett trains at, I don't know if you know Governor's Club in Kennesaw. It's a beautiful, giant facility. So he trains our clients at 3 different facilities. So indoor. This is our outdoor one.
Here's my question. So what makes you think, I'm just asking.
Oh, great questions.
Because you're fixing to dump some money in this.
We are.
So what, I'm sure you've done your comps on to see how much business you got to have to start paying you back. That's a lot of money. So,
we have $1 million, just say, for example, from the land to the investment of for getting it the way that we want.
So you've done some comps to figure out, hey, I need to have this many clients on this many days.
So to cover it, just to answer your question, to cover it, I'm looking at all day on a Saturday and maybe a Sunday morning. That's once a month to cover the basic cost of this. And I'm just saying from the number, I'm talking about literally 3 classes of 8 to 10 people will cover the cost of this. So there's a tremendous revenue upswing on this if we choose to. Sir, welcome. Thank you for joining us. That's all right, my friend. We were talking about, I won't reiterate the whole thing, but just talking about safety and our organization being a part of the community.
So one more question. I know this is, Randy won't want me to come back.
No, this is a great question. I hope I answered it okay.
Yeah, because I've heard, like I said, I'm affiliated with that one. This is really cool. So I think it's really cool. I think it'll generate a lot of business if it goes. My question is, let's say it doesn't. Let's say the first year and you can't withstand it, then the second year and it's done. What do you do then?
Great question. Let me answer one other question before I forget this. It's a great question. I'll share that with you. First and foremost, the best part for us is, well, I'll jump into that question. Judd and I love land. This gentleman, who's been my partner in business for 15 years, we can shut down tomorrow and we have 250 acres we can 4-wheel on and bring my kids up here and do what we had to do. So worst case scenario, it all falls apart. And by the way, we're avid shooters in a safety realm, so we have our own beautiful range to shoot on whenever we want. And sir, the most important point, this is not a range, it's not open, this is private training only, where people would never come onto our land without coming to the gate, signing in, and our trainers would take them for a course that they've signed up for.
Sure. Do you have any data on noise reduction and noise in general?
Yes. Well, it's funny you say that, sir, because we actually, so when we were shooting, we were down here in the Soft Whisper.
Okay.
So let me share with you, if I may, Randy, the mayor, was with us. There, I'm listening again, I'm sorry guys. This is a private residence that's being built now from the doctor, who was in the military, and we're very sensitive to it. We did sound testing at these P through 5. He had taken 9mm, which is extremely loud actually, you can find softer ones. And we stood here and did the sound testing. No. Mayor Randy, where we're building our berm, couldn't even hear the sound, unless we actually concentrated. And we actually had to say, so wait, we have to listen again? So he would shoot through the phone, and then we'd wait 1 or 2 seconds, and we'd go. And that also is without professionally excavating and building the berm, which is going to knock it down 40 to 60 dBs, and you're not even at 40 or 60.
What's the topology like from his residence?
All big mountain track right
So
here.
there is a mountain.
That's why we're back down in the berm. So when we did our research, and the reason, sir, we started with this land, which, Randy, we may not end up getting right now, and that's why we ended up with these 2 tracks, because this land here is just open, there's no trees. We originally started with Lamar on this land, there were no trees, it's just sound is just traveling everywhere. When we did our testing here, you could hear it like it was in your backyard. So we went into these 2 tracks which we're under contract for, and if you notice where we picked, you could not, this is drop down.
It's a natural depression.
And then we're actually we're gonna build an additional berm in there, almost 360, which will pretty much make it non-existent. I hope that answered the question, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the most important part. As we mentioned, as much as we want to train and educate here, we also don't want to disturb people and want people to be a part of it. Here's what's funnier. When we're here, we can hear, I think there's a Pickens County shooting range.
Well, there's a sheriff's
It's
office.
the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's office. We can actually hear that more because of where it's located, up high, whereas everything specifically is designated low. So and most importantly, sir, I just want to share with you the fact that it's not an open range and you cannot come on property unless you meet at the designated location with trainers that are picking you up in our Mavericks to take you to the location, do your training specifically, and that's training after you do classwork in City Hall, dry firing here in town, and then obviously coming back out to a lunch area and hope that they come back. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes?
I know you talk about the gate. Is there gonna be like a fence all the way around your property to keep people from walking up?
Great question. So what we've done, we are planning on putting a gate right there. The Bennetts are nice enough, I think they live over here, and they just made a road right here. There's a big road that just came in from here. So we are actually gonna put a gate here, we're gonna put a gate, here at all access points. If you actually go around the property, there is a natural elevation that you cannot take 4-wheelers up, which is quite intriguing. And David Bryant, I don't know if you know David, David's the gentleman who runs the Wildcat properties for us. David Bryant actually went through the whole property with us the other day and said, if you look around the entire property, you have a natural elevation where no one can take a 4-wheeler up. Only those spots here and here are the access point because everything else, the earth doesn't let them come in. Now there'll be private property signs across the board. In addition, you could also, with all due respect, have someone just walk around the property. Look at the berm, and I gave you examples here. Someone would have to come around the hill, see the berm, that it actually has targets in it, and walk into the targets. So even if people randomly walked around the property, number one, you're gonna hear firing, but number two, we're depressed in a specifically built out berm where no one's shooting up in the air anyway.
And there will also be signs on the berms too. It's a good practice to put firearms, firing range, so if someone walks up on it, they don't cross over a berm and be like, oh, what's on
But no one should be on property anyway. And that's kind of why our mayor had asked, like, are you doing camping anywhere else? And I'm like, no, we don't want anybody around, with all due respect. And as I said, even if someone just starts traveling and walking around there, they'd have to literally step into the range, come down through everybody, you'd be seeing everybody, hearing everything. It would be very abnormal if someone came through the property with all of the signage.
And I'll be honest with you that a fence, a lock, or anything is just keeping honest people out because, you know, if somebody wants in there, they're gonna cut a fence or they're gonna do whatever.
We also
Have to
are,
do to get it.
yeah, great question. Twofold. We also are running electrical. Our plan is to get a hold of the county because I personally want to run electrical there because I want cameras on all site, all time. Now, we will have deer cameras around other locations for movement, but on the actual area where we're actually shooting, we plan on having cameras 24/7 running, remotely as well, because we'll get notifications and our team will get notifications if someone's on and we can talk to them through the camera. Hey, excuse me, you shouldn't be here. With all due respect, that's to protect us, you know, equally as much as people, because I want cameras videotaping. I mean, you know, today's world. What we also teach with self-defense and with training is not just defending yourself, but also being visually appropriate. Because everybody's videotaped, and if you're trying to defend yourself in your home, and we go over all this with our students, you know, people think, I can never shoot, I can shoot anybody I want in my house. Not exactly, you need to go over it. You have to be a threat, it has to be a threat. So there's a lot of things that we go over, and this isn't all about that. This is mostly also about cleaning your weapons, going over weapon training, and also being a part of the education system. It's allowed to teach, you know, the community about safety. So to answer your question,
That part of that is the SD's property that we,
Well,
I'm trying to figure out where it is
alright,
right
so down there in.
this is Estes, right here is the Estes property.
Right, okay, right there,
That's the
136,
first two
okay,
acres,
right there.
right.
Alright, that right there is Danny Townsend.
Right there.
Oh, okay, so this is past Danny's
Yeah.
house.
Guys, and if you look, sir, you asked about noise as well, just to be clear. If you look at the land, that's 250 acres. We pretty much chose the most dead center spot in the most depressed area. So there was a reason why we started originally looking with Lamar at this. Number one, it was cleared by trees, which doesn't help the sound. And number two, it just was too wide open. And we ended up going up to these two properties and finding the most depressed area with the most buffer. And then, as I said, our goal would be to continue on. David Bryant, who does the Wild Track, is doing a few things over here, and if we're welcomed into the community, our goal would be to continue into this area. Again, just respectful for the community's acceptance. David Bryant, who did the Wild Track, when he was with us the other day, it was quite funny, and I think you all start thinking about it. He heard what we were doing and understood, and he's like, I've already got 10 clients for you. So no disrespect to you saying, Lee, what if you guys don't get any clients? Well, the nice part about our bank and why our bank is funding us is we've had very successful businesses in the Woodstock area. So I don't know if you guys know Woodstock at all, but we have a couple of buildings there and a couple of businesses with technology. And our bank said, look, you can fund this even if you had no clients. And that's not said in a pretentious fashion. You're just asking the question, what happens? So they're funding us independent of the success of this business. They're funding us based on the wherewithal of our other businesses. So I'd love for it to succeed, but when David Bryan, who just heard it the first time, you mentioned this to anybody? I got 10 clients tomorrow for you. And sorry, one last moment that I said, I'd say most people I know in town that have weapons in the state of Georgia that are good friends of mine, and 98% of them don't know exactly what to do with the weapon. Maybe not you, sir. In terms of take someone to a range and, I hope I'm saying something appropriate.
I was in the Army for 28 years. I've been on a couple ranges.
Yeah, I mean, just take somebody there and watch their finger on the trigger the whole time. And all you do is yelling, take your finger off the please take your finger off the trigger. Garrett was a sniper in the Army for...
I'm guilty. I'll admit I'm guilty.
And that's all right. And then we have a stick for that. I don't know if you agree, sir, with it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is, so the purpose of tonight is to...
Well, no, now the purpose of tonight is for him to present it to here, because there's a lot of things that's going to have to happen from this point forward, if y'all are in agreement to it and everything, because we'll have to have this rezone, highway business. So that means a public hearing and everybody around that their property within 200 feet has to be notified we're going to do it with a certified letter. There'll be signage put up at both ends, like Fisher Creek and then 136. And then it has to run in the paper for 2 weeks. And then we have a public hearing, and then we vote on it. Okay. Now, here's what I want to do, even though maybe not tonight, but I want to set up another test. Let Mary with no pickets, let Dennis with the paper, and all the council people go up there. And let's do this thing again, so that everybody knows and everybody's seen firsthand. So that when somebody comes in here, because we're going to have somebody come in here and say, I don't want this, I don't want that. Yep. So we can personally say, and it'll be in the public's perspective there, that out there, full force there, that we've done everything that is okay. I mean, we've tested it, we went out there and physically seen it, and there's no dispute. Because you're not going to be satisfied ever.
The mayor was there yesterday.
He's going to run into this at the zoning, and I've got a few pieces rezoned up here. I'm getting one rezoned now. I just know because some people are terrified when you say, and I love the way he's presenting. It's a training facility. I mean, that's his main goal is not to go out and fire off rounds. He's out to train people on how to use firearms, and they need to know. But he's going to run into this. I love his presentation. He's going to need it because when it comes zoning and he shows up at the rezone, he's going to run into that before it even hits this. If y'all pass it, when he goes to rezone,
no, we rezone. We're our own rezone.
He doesn't have to go before the county?
No, we're in.
I like this.
That's the property you're talking about.
Because with the city of Jasper, I mean, when you go to the zoning meetings, they're open, and I'm sure this will be open too. So you don't know if someone's walking in that's just coming to say hey, or they're fixing to put it on you. And so I've been to a few of them, in the county, and I've seen it. So that's a huge plus you got going for you right here.
Well, that's what we're respectful to you guys. And by the way, we joked yesterday. Mayor was out yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of days. My point, Mayor was out yesterday, and he laughed when we did the test. It was laughable. You couldn't hear anything.
I mean,
We are happy to go there tonight. Not that you want to ruin your days, or we schedule a time. This gentleman is getting married on Saturday, which is wonderful. But he is in all next week because I know you want to get out there and do the test as well.
Yeah, we'd be happy to set up another test for the exact same thing.
I think we have to be cautious, though, how you define the word test. So, do you have to have official analysis?
well, they do have an official analysis.
Yeah, we had sound. So we had we have a DB, a decibel reader, audible, and it's picking up the highway. Like it was so soft.
Yeah.
There was a car riding by.
You were conducting the test yourself?
We were with the mayor there, of course, just holding the machine as well. But most importantly, we're happy to conduct any test, get any additional
You
equipment.
don't think a third party should be involved with that?
We can, if we can hire that. It was so nominal, and happy to do that. The reader wasn't picking up the sound.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But for the county and the town, that protects the town to say, hey, we did a third party analysis that shows here's the data.
Yep.
We're not just taking
Your guys' opinions.
Yeah, or you
Which is
do
true.
your own testing.
And we can do that. I don't know of a sound testing place. I know we called around for a few places out of state one time, but I don't know of an official one in the state of Georgia. We've looked around, but it will do more research for you as well. So I agree with you. That pretty much nails the show as
noise
well.
reduction, I mean, the topology makes it safe, but I mean, the noise reduction for that area, I mean, that's probably about the biggest question that you're gonna get.
well, the problem, and like I say, I don't want to add this, this is totally different than others, but you've got two gun ranges that's on top of the mountain, up there by Jones Mountain, where the dump used to be the landfill. And I can hear them from all the way from my house up there. Then we have what we call J19, which is a junction in the gas line. But I hear them firing guns all the time over there.
Yes.
And I'm talking about, you know, AR-15s and everything, you know. I mean, not just training, but just joy shooting. So for me to go up there and officially, you know, listen, you know, this is nowhere near any of that I hear before. But now, I do agree that we need to cover every basis that we can to make the public, and that's why I say, you know, that the paper, any kind of media that wants to go, needs to go and needs to witness firsthand so that we can say, hey, you know, yeah, we witnessed it and everything. But if we can find somebody, you know, that would
We looked, I mean, I was doing that, I agree with you, that's why we ended up getting our own, because I couldn't find a local source that was gonna run up for me, that, whatever that particular day was, but we can continue to search for you. I agree with you, we wanna cover every angle. I think also if you do, I still feel with all due respect, in addition to the test, I would love for you guys to still come up as well. You know, if that's all right. It's not that far.
Yes, sir. I apologize for being late. How many standing structures are gonna be on the property?
You don't mean the berms, you mean a structure.
Yeah, like a office building, class.
We, you know, so the classes we were planning on using the classroom in City Hall. So
okay.
we were renting
There's
one.
no hard buildings. You were talking about utilities.
When I say utilities, you mean a power?
Yeah.
So I want a power for camera on the range.
Okay.
We haven't really talked, so what we plan also on doing during renovations is we want to put containers in the ground to hold equipment. So, you know, when you come around the corner, you know, those big containers, the big metal containers that are on the side of trucks. We'd like to bury one or two of them by our range, because that's where you're going to have all of our targets. We're going to put them away when we're done. You know, they're kind of in the ground, all you see is a door. And we had considered, up in some of these areas, to possibly put a, you know, maybe just a tin roof, something where people can sit outside and have lunch. You know, but not a structure. The only other consideration is septic or porta potties, you know, for people to go to the bathroom. This is a back entrance here, close to that area, so that's an easy way for potentially a truck to bring a porta potty if we choose to have those, or to do a septic. But we hadn't really considered a facility. That's not our priority.
Okay.
You know, is to have a standalone where people are hanging out, drinking coffee. No, you're coming up for a designated reason. You're coming up to train, whether we train in the city hall to begin with. We come up to train, you have your lunch up there from Biggins or wherever local in the community, and then you're off property. But it's not a hang-around facility.
Do you have a business model now? A business plan?
Yeah, our bank will require that, of course, and it runs all the numbers and everything for us. So we're finishing up with them over the next 2 weeks, just fine tuning a few pieces of it.
Okay.
But like I said, and not dismissing the business plan question, the wherewithal of our current businesses is what the bank is funding off of. So this could fail, I don't think, with all due respect, you never know. But it could fail, and we still have the property to enjoy ourselves, as just common owners and that are gun enthusiasts ourselves.
So you said roughly 250 acres?
It is 125 approximately.
So track, is that 10.1, 10.1?
That's 175 that David wants to sell us as well, but we didn't want to get that without just getting welcomed into the community and maybe working through it, but these are the two that we're currently under contract with and hopefully close in the next 30, 45 days. And then obviously once closed, again, with blessings and with doing everything, we would want to start renovations to start, most importantly, with all due respect, obviously a parking lot here, because people need to pull up so that they can get picked up, and then the firing facility. All the other stuff, clearing a few areas, doing some things to make nice views for people to sit out, that's secondary. Primary is I need the safe range, power for video cameras so we can cover ourselves, gates at these respective locations for security as best as you can, and then a parking lot so people are not bottling up a highway or the main access road so people can pull in to do their classes. Even local. I mean, city of Talking Rock, we're providing our first lesson plan at no charge to any city resident. So handgun training course will be no charge if you live in the city of Talking Rock. But you have to. I mean, we want to be a part of the community, and we want everybody in the community to come out and take the lessons, take the course. Why not? You're going to only talk about it more. It's only going to continue to grow. With all due respect, great question before, it's going to explode. It will. I mean, it's...
So the potential revenue is gun safety. That's...
You said potential revenue?
Yeah, you're doing gun safety classes and that's it.
So when you say gun safety classes?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what your revenue streams are going to be. What are you...
Oh, well, just an example here. So original is there's classroom work, but there's handgun training courses, rifle training courses, home defense. Were you here when we spoke about home defense?
No, sir.
So one of the final pieces of this after you do all the courses is, and it basically someone wants to pay for it, is we come to their particular home. So you can live in Atlanta, live here, and we do a clearing of the house. How do you clear your own home? So just because you know how to shoot doesn't mean that when you get out of your bedroom, your children are in that room, if you shoot through that wall in that direction, it could miss and go through a wall.
Sure.
You understand the basics of that. So that's kind of the final piece is home defense but you have to go through all of our courses. We have to know you're safe.
So you're zoning this for business. But
We didn't know how much zoning was important. You mentioned it, Mayor, but we have discussed with we've been in multiple counties in terms of looking at things like this. We ended up here. It's very gray, with all due respect. This is your expertise in terms of the laws. The law in Georgia states 50 yards, you can't shoot 50 yards from a highway.
Okay.
Right? Noise ordinances in Woodstock and Cherokee, they're trying to change things, but they still haven't. It's been very gray unless you know something different. So,
how many owners are potentially going to own these tracts? One?
myself and Judd Eigler own Coordinate Real
So you
Estate.
use it for personal business as well?
Personal use. We say
Personal
personal.
use.
Yeah, so an example is this Saturday. So here's the best part. My wife and 3 daughters. May I tell the story?
Yeah.
So I don't lie, but I've been lying to my wife and my 3 daughters because I have not shared with them that we're under contract for this beautiful acreage and the beautiful view. And they think I'm at a dinner tonight somewhere. And I'm like, oh God, I hate lying. But on Saturday, I'm gonna bring them up and take them up to the beautiful spot with Judd, our partner, and his daughters, and my daughters, and go, oh, by the way, we're under contract for this. And we get to ride around a 4-wheel and have fun. So I don't know, and my in-laws will be there because I don't want her to shoot me at that point, so I'm protecting myself. But really it's personal use if it's not for, I mean, Garrett, you're gonna be up here tenting and himself personally, so any of the owners of the business will be using it for private use as well if it's not being used for that.
Well, like Lee and I said, like we have successful business right now. I mean, so we do a lot of business in Woodstock, and so this is kind of like, it's cool for us to have land anyway. You know, like we want to have a nice piece of property we can take our family to and just.
I hope that, like, does that sound
So
appropriate?
that's nice for us.
If it fails, first off, if it fails, then it's just my fault, our fault, you know, it's your fault if it fails. But the point is, financially, we could go 10 years without earning a single dollar, and we're still gonna pay the mortgage and the revenue on it, still gonna pay it on the, I mean, I said $350,000 of renovations, knowing the tracks are $650 or whatever the number is, $1 million. The bank said we need $1 million, $2 million. If we go and we, hey, I want this, I want that, we'll just go with it as we go, knowing the mortgage, knowing what the revenue will bring back in. I'll give you one example, sir. Just get very inquisitive, which is great. We bought a building. We have a technology business in Woodstock, right behind the Chick-fil-A Dwarf House. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but our company is Savant. It's a big S on the building back there. Do you know Savant? Oh, that's us. That's the judge and my.
I've seen the building.
You've seen the building. So if you go behind the Chick-fil-A, we have a technology business down the end, and it's where we have about 50 employees there that do computers and stuff. So the other building right behind Chick-fil-A, I know the owner of it, who sold us the first building, and we used to have tenants, but our business grew where those tenants, were like, well, we love renting from you, just a little individual community suite, but we don't have anywhere to go. I said, well, let's buy the building. So we bought the building down the street, and we started filling it with tenants. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? We didn't know if it was going to go anywhere, but the tech business was strong enough financially where it didn't matter. Well, at this point, we filled it. It's bringing in more revenue on a monthly basis than what the mortgage is and all the other expenses associated with it. It's probably about $7,500 on a monthly basis, and that building just pays for itself every single month. Now, I didn't guarantee that was going to happen when we did it, but you have a good reputation, you take care of people, you treat them well, and you're respectful, and things will come around. That's what I'll be 48 this year. I'm an old man, but I've learned in my life, the more good you are to people. No, but it's true. You're just old, right? You're around. You hang out with a 26-year-old day, you feel old. The point is, I feel strongly that you take care of people. You give, I think you get back tenfold. Now, you might not get it at that moment. Like I give you something and you're going to give me something back, but I feel that you get back. So I think, with all due respect, I almost know it's going to explode. I was just trying to be respectful of how much do you allow us to have classes there. If you say, man, take the governor off, do what you want to do, or we could be respectful and hold classes accordingly based on your schedule.
Now, let's clarify this for James here, that this is not a range for anybody to go up there and shoot.
No one's going to be allowed to. You have to sign up on our website.
And you have to be it has to be classroom only, or
You start with classroom,
yeah.
and you can't go to the second, third, you can't do rifle training unless you've gone through the first 2 phases. You just can't sign up, because we need to know you're safe out there. I mean, it's our liability, our insurance, I don't want, accidents are going to happen, but it's unacceptable when it's safety.
But the thing about it is, once they pass the course, they can't go back. And
You can't just walk in there, the gates are locked. We don't.
Well, no, I'm talking about later on. The only way that you can get back in there is pay.
You have to pay and sign up for a course.
Of course.
We
So
have
it's not anybody can just come back and shoot.
We have a litany of good friends that are Special Forces Rangers, Special Forces Green Beret, and when they're in town, we might hold a special, hey, if you want to shoot and train with Tyler Buckland, who's a Green Beret, who did all the coursework and been over in Afghanistan. If you want to shoot with him, we'll do a promotion. You come out that day and shoot with him and train with him. And he's a Special Forces Ranger and then a Green Beret on top of it. He's a good friend of ours. We might have those courses as well, but you have to sign up. There is no random, I'm just showing up here. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. And I think we need to, especially on Sunday is after church, but then through the week, maybe have a cutoff time of 7 or 8 o'clock.
I agree.
Somewhere around in there, no private shooting or any of that. I mean, that's big there.
And what's funny is Lamar Cantrell, who, you guys know Lamar, of course. Lamar, I wish Lamar was here. He told the story to the mayor we first met a few weeks ago. I'll run into that story. Lamar lives on 140 acres with his dad, and there's the range above him. And they've been up there having arguments every other week because not only are they shooting skeet and they have the orange clay in their river, they have the lead in their river, and they hear it all night long. And the mayor looked at Lamar and said, Lamar, what do you think? And Lamar said, if it's done right, it's perfect. But they literally listen to the sound all day long and all night long. They shoot all night. So, yeah, we would be happy to cut off. I mean, again, we're just building it up. And I hope you can tell why we're sitting here with you is to get your blessing, right? Hey, are we welcome or not welcome? You say, hey, we think it'd be best to start originally no shooting after 8 o'clock at night, private or public, right? Which nobody else has that limitation, but we would do that for you. Other places can shoot, any private person can shoot whenever they want. Relatively speaking, we're not here to battle. This is your home. We want to be a part of it. So I hope you understand that's why we're sitting here, preemptively.
I mean, I think we need to have boundaries. I mean, I really do. I mean, and it depends on the sound. If you can't hear it at all, from
It don't matter.
it doesn't matter.
That's your decision, guys.
But I want to make sure, like I said, I do want to do some more tests, around the whole perimeter, say on Fisher Creek. Somebody else, y'all are at P5 and P4.
Yep.
And just make sure, because like I said, we're over here, and now we're going to be there. So
Because that's the only concern I have, is the noise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I feel like the people around us bought that property because they wanted to be in a nice, quiet, peaceful environment. I don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt their quality of life on their own property.
And if,
So that's my only concern about it.
your concern, thanks to you and the concerns of the mayor as well, that's why we moved to these two tracks. Just to give you the ideology of it, the doctor here was kind of the first concern. We were with Lamar originally here. The mayor and Lamar said, well, the doctor's building, he just kind of wanted to be a little more quiet. We said, well, let's start doing some testing. And we felt it was too loud over here, right? Even as far away as we could get from the doctor's office, we felt it was too loud. And then Lamar was kind enough to give us David Bryant, and we said, well, let's look into this. So we looked into this and we started doing the testing here, and we laughed.
Yeah.
Because we're like, ah, that's, with all due respect, that's very quiet.
Now, you had mentioned the Bennett. Did you talk to Chris?
I'm sorry?
Did you talk to Chris Bennett?
No, I've been told by David Bryant that the Bennetts own this, and we were just excited to meet them as if we're neighbors, you know, I mean,
Okay.
even.
That's the other, close neighbor you have, so I just want to make sure.
We would love to meet
know
him.
about it, yeah.
And I hope you guys can get our perspective, that's why we're sitting here. We feel respect is important, and that's why we present ahead of time.
Okay.
What's the potential revenue for the town, just the tax?
No, actually, they're gonna be renting the town hall for those classes. So if they're doing them 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and I'm just gonna throw this number out. If we charge them $100 a class, that's $600 a week that the town is gonna get revenue off of them being.
And I want to be fair, guys, when we start, right, and if this goes forward as we're planning, it doesn't start day one. Like, you have to ramp it up, right? It has to build up the momentum. We already have our business model, as you said, and we already have a litany of clients that are ready to go in this environment, because we teach them currently indoor. But to have the ability to come to an outdoor and a nice facility is really what's appealing, because you talk about the one around the corner.
Right.
So,
He has struggled to get that one off down. I mean, when you go by, it's deceiving. There's a lot of cars there, but you've also got the gun shop there at sales. But I know him personally, and they have struggled to get that one going. I haven't talked to him lately. I haven't talked to him in a few months. But my son-in-law works there. He's certified. He trains there.
yep.
He was very interested in this. I think the appeal of this is it's outside. I think you have a lot more to offer. I mean, you can only do so much inside. And an inside facility is great.
Yeah.
But this is, like I said, with the views and with what's going on,
You know it.
I think it has a lot more to offer.
Yes.
Inside facilities are a dime a dozen. We've
Right.
prided ourselves for the past, I've been doing business 24 years now, and everything we touch is a white glove service. What I mean by that is we have always charged a premium dollar for a white glove service. And if you don't want to do it, it's okay, you're not our client. And I don't mean that in a pretentious fashion, that's but with all due respect, look at our presentation today. I don't have to tell you, this is a nice presentation, right? I'm not saying it's white glove, but I didn't have a video and everything else, but everything we want to touch, our shirts, our logos, it's going to be first class, but the clients are going to pay a premium dollar. And the people that are going to come up here, I feel it's a beautiful area. I love it. And all CEOs that I deal with all day long, we're going on June 7th, the company Porsche has a facility down by the airport, and they built it. It's where they filmed the Avengers movie. If you see the Avengers, like from the movie, that was their home base, right? Because it looks like that. And it's got a big course in the back. And I belong to a group that I join about 300 CEOs from all over the country and all over the area. And we're going to be going there being a premier speaker to talk about executive firearms. Forget about those CEOs coming up here, because they're going to pay $300-400 for a course and come up and realize this is beautiful up here. But then we also want all their employees. So we already have our plan, which is nearly the 20 or 30 CEOs that we know intimately that are very interested in this have opened their doors to us coming in and talking to their staff. Hey, if you want to join. And then they do company events where they send 8 to 10 up with us. Have you ever heard of AquaGuard basement systems?
Yes, we
Yeah. Well, no, the reason is, so the owner of that, Tom DiGregorio, good friend of mine, client of Savant's for 10 years. Me in the military, Kalo, the cute owner of that, Ted Baker, good friend of mine, right? He's out of LA, we do all this technology. I'm not dropping names in a sense, I'm just giving you a perspective. It's a big military ring, it's a $30 million business. He's making custom rings for him. I told him, hey Ted, check out what we're planning on doing. He goes, I'll make you custom rings. And everybody says, of course, they get an executive firearms custom ring and I'll label it up. Tom DiGregorio is a good friend. He's already signed up his entire team to come up here. But I shoot with Tom consistently. John Loud at Loud Security.
Oh, yeah, I know.
John's a client of ours as well. And again, not saying this for like, oh, have you heard of this or that? It's just they're substantially successful individuals that are very interested in this. So it can explode if you choose. We charge a premium dollar, James. If James, you're good. Now, I'm not playing poker with you, by the way. Just letting you know, I'm not playing poker. No way.
I just, I agree with Cheryl. I think safety is the number one thing, but then from a revenue stream for the town, we're zoning that in a business with a lot of acreage that can be used for something else, or it'd be potential tax dollars to the town. So I'm just curious on how that benefits the town of Talking Rock from a revenue perspective.
So I'm going to hand you you guys know this better than us. I'm going to hand you a check. You tell us what it is. That's why we're sitting here.
We're limited in funding in our town, and so we're looking at every opportunity as possible to bring in revenue.
I would like, selfishly, I would like our logo, our vision to be a part of the town, and that comes with a price. So I leave it to you guys to determine, and again, you get my point. I don't know. You guys know what can help you financially. And again, I'm not trying to say like I want dogs with the logo tattooed on their arm. I don't mean that, but I just meant I don't want people to look at weapons as fearful. I want to look at, yeah, I'm a little uneasy about it. Let me call these guys because they're going to teach me how to do it right. And then you have a beautiful facility with it. So we'd like to be a part of that. So James, I'll leave it to you to make that decision.
Yeah, thank you.
But as far as tax base change, it should be about the same with the acreage that they've got, because we're gonna have to rezone it, and that business, the business thing, the whole thing will have to be rezoned. So that's gonna put it in a higher,
Okay, that's.
And one point I wanted to mention too, that was earlier in the previous, you might not have been here for it, is on the main page of the website, having links to some of the local businesses
that's
like
why I
the
was
bed
gonna
and
ask
breakfast.
if you could
Yeah.
show that to James so he could see.
That allows to generate some of that revenue for local businesses as well.
And Gary, you talk to James, because James looks at me, you're the military. That's fine. So just an example down here, you click here, all right? We think, James, it's really important that people want that one click. So if you got to click to sign up with us, just say for a button here.
Yeah.
But then you got to find the bed and breakfast, find the it's just too much.
Yes, sir.
So I would prefer to click for your stay and for food. We will procure the money, obviously through the transaction off premise, and then we will provide it back, no markup for us. We're not looking, you kind of get the sense, guys, when we talked about our businesses, we're not in this to make a ton of, we're in to be a part of the community, and hopefully you guys make a ton of money from it. We would like to have some as well, but the point is, all of the money goes right back to the bed and breakfast, goes back to the delicatessen, the Big Inns, whoever does it, and we just keep a list of it and it gets cut back to them. So I like the one click. If that isn't exactly, just in the sample for you.
I got you.
I just like, if someone doesn't know Talking Rock, they're coming up here.
Yeah.
I want to stay, I want to eat, I don't know where to go, just click it.
Have you talked to Kelly and Lisa over there at Biggins?
No, Mayor just
No.
mentioned about.
What I did when we first met down at Town Hall, and he had this vision, he said he wanted to be a part of the community and everything. I said, okay. I said, here's the thing. Here's what I want. I want while the gentleman or the guy is up there shooting, I want the kids to be playing on our playground.
Mhm.
I want the women to be shopping in the shops. I want somebody to stay overnight, because that's why Dusty's here. Is he's got some plans. I want them to stay in a bed and breakfast here. I've talked to him about a deli in one of the train cars. So I wanted the town to be tied in with that as much as possible to get some of the revenue, maybe not directly, but as far as businesses goes, that grows in that sense. And then, like I say, I told him I wanted him to rent our building for the classes, so it gives us revenue. So overall, we might not get rooftops up there that's bringing in like for residential or whatever, but you got to remember, all those residentials comes with trash, service, parks, and everything else. I mean, so you're getting, I think, more money for your bang this way, because they come in, they spend their money, and they go home. You see, so we're not having to cover out a whole lot of services because they're only here for a day or two. So that doesn't put a whole lot of.
Well, that's why 7 days. Again, we're feeling out what you want, right? If you said, I only want a few courses a week, okay, we'll do a few courses a week. Hey, I want you to load it up, we'll load it up. But it does take time to ramp it up. I've been doing business for 24, 25 years. I do have a litany of people, and I say this with respect, we talk to the top chiefs. So my point is, our first 50 clients are the CEOs of businesses. Okay, it's not an employee at a business that has to try to go convince people. So those 50 clients, Tom DiGregorio, John Lau, they have 100 employees each. Once they come out and have this experience, we're going to be going into their offices, which is said, well, when are you ready? They keep asking, when are you ready? We go in, we do the presentation about who we are, coming out to the course, and it continues to spiral from there. So I like going to the decision maker. That's one of the reasons why we're sitting here with you guys, right? So it'd be foolish of us to go forward and you find out about this after the fact. We don't like to work like that. And I agree with you, the noise, James, we're very sensitive about it. We've done as much, and I agree with all of your thoughts. I don't know of a sound testing, but I'd be happy to.
I just think that you're gonna have to have some official data to present for the town, to protect, the town itself.
Okay.
To just be hearsay, just because I drive up in a truck and I listen to you shoot a couple rounds, and I said, oh yeah, I can hear it. It's not a good business. I think that would be,
What if we got law enforcement involved because they are around?
Well, no, I mean, I think it does, if we can find somebody.
Yeah, so, I mean, you talk about law enforcement with training, you do a lot of training for law enforcement. We actually want to bring law enforcement in to train and feel comfortable.
But I know about
Certification, yeah, no, I know the small research I've done on it was that there are items that you can get that are certified items to listen to it, but we have to do more sort of research into companies that actually come
What
out.
about, there's gotta be companies that test sound in buildings.
Yeah,
So I think they could do the same thing outdoors. So if we could find somebody to do that.
We'll do, we will, that's easy.
We'll try, you know.
Do you need to be on site for that, or can I make, so an example is,
No.
I tend to move fast.
No, because if you use a company, then the company's gonna be held liable if their plan doesn't.
That's why I need to hear it.
see, that just
Sorry.
protects you, and then that
Protects
justifies us for the town.
It's the
Like,
integrity
they're saying,
of
hey,
it.
listen, they have all the third-party data that shows you this is.
And the
it.
location, because you'll have to test it in different locations. And we'll have them test, like you said, guys, here, shooting in this area. That's what I wanted to hear, because if I had to, I talk about wrangling cats, if I had to get everybody in at the same time to do it, it's almost impossible. So let us do what we do, and that'll take us a few days. We tend to move quick, because guys, we're closing in 30, like, we don't, no disrespect, we don't have that much time. Like, we've got to make decisions and move forward.
So I'll reach out to our town attorney and start letting him go through the hoops or see what we need to do here and everything. And like I say, you get back to me when you find and have the testing.
Yep.
We can have a call meeting to.
That'll be next week.
We can have a call meeting to come back together and.
I will be shocked if we don't have the testing done by next week for you.
Okay.
Like, I mean, we have no choice, guys. I don't have time to waste.
Right.
You know, I need to get that, put that in your back pocket, load your gun with it, and then let you do what you do.
Ralph, do you have any questions from the properties? I mean, I know you're more apt to ask questions and stuff, so I just want to make sure that you're good.
No, what's running through my mind is how to write the article.
But
Because personally, and I don't live in Talking Rock, but I love it. I've been a police officer, I've been a security officer, I've been on the range, and I've taught my children how to shoot. They're both adults now, but teaching them the right way is something that needs to be done. And
so what you've heard tonight is a good plan.
I
You don't have any questions or concerns being on the range and stuff
No.
in different fields that you're in.
No.
Okay. Mary, do you have any questions for them? I mean, Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And like I said,
Thank y'all so much.
we'll be in touch.
You've answered my questions.
So,
Thank you.
so like I said,
Thank you guys for your time.
Randy came to me, and I said, and I started giving out questions, and every question I had, you have answered tonight.
We sincerely appreciate the time for sitting in front of
thank
you
you.
guys and listening.
Guys, the only thing that's out of our control is what, James, no disrespect, again, we're gonna bust hump to try to find something. I don't know, we did some research, like I said before, we went out and bought our own decibel tester. We did our research, guy out of Virginia or something, company's out of there, we're like, you're not gonna fly in for that, he's like, we could send you this equipment, we're like,
but maybe you could find somebody that does the testing for
Something.
businesses that,
I'm gonna get you something better than us doing. Is that a fair way of putting it? I'm not telling you that this is.
Well, and he brought up a good point, that I didn't think about.
There's company that do sound to airports too.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's got to be somebody out there.
No, we'll find it. I mean, I'll be shocked. I'll be in touch with you if you don't, but I won't give up. That's all I'm saying.
No, I just.
To use
James, again, I'm not playing poker.
28 years in the Army, did that.
James, will you come out and shoot Judge Harvard? Excellent.
Yeah.
I have to shoot my
If you would run all three of your things, so we'll have it for
There's actually
our minutes.
three.
Oh, yeah.
Lee, you want me to hand these ones out too? Hold them out.
Please, guys,
Does anyone want their administrative?
When you're on your way.
You got one, it's all right.
I will hand you.
Oh,
That way you all have the same time.
Or if you know.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is open bid for town maintenance contract. Chad that was doing it, moved to, Marble Hill, and, like I say, he's no longer doing it. I'll tell you the, current maintenance bid for everybody that doesn't remember is $1,600 a month. It was originally $1,900, but once we got the dumpster, we cut it back to $1,600, and, you know, and just go ahead and let everybody know that, you know, I was helping Chad. I can't just do it without going through this process and doing the bid process and stuff to see if anybody bid. We have 3 bids, so we're gonna go ahead and open those bids now and see where it goes. Okay, the first bid is trim back tree service and lawn maintenance. The owner-operator is Dusty Arnold. He lives in LJ 136 Hidden Hollow Court, LJ, Georgia. Let me see if I can find his bid. Okay, his bid is $2,200 monthly, which is $26,400 for the year. If anybody wants to look at this.
So that's gonna be, yeah, $600 more.
Okay, all right. The next one is Buckner Outdoor Services. Billy Buckner, he's got his phone number, $3,000 a month. Okay, all right. So the last one is Jason Long. To the town council, I'll do monthly maintenance for the town, $2,000 a month is my bid. Everybody see that?
First one was 22.
First one was 22, the second one was 3,000. Make sure we keep up with those, so everybody can see those. And the last one was 2,000,
And before the trash, what were we paying?
19. And like I said, we're currently doing it for 16. And I've continued, because I mean, we've had to have it done, so I've continued. So they did write me a check last month for 16 since Bucky's not here. So, but I couldn't officially bid being the town man. I think it's been unethical. But I will tell you that I have spent a lot of hours down there and stuff. But anyway, with that being said, if y'all want to go in executive session to discuss that, I'll stay out of the executive session.
Can we go ahead and do the clerk while we're doing this, or do you want to wait and do it separate? Because you can be in there for the clerk. Okay, never mind.
Yes.
All right, we'll go in one of the Sunday school rooms if y'all want to.
Well, if y'all are considering me at all, then those 3 would have to go in. See what I'm saying? If y'all consider. Now, y'all don't, like I say, 1,600 is all we budgeted this year a month. And, you know, and like I say, again, we have done a lot of improvements for the parks and stuff, and there's no really wiggle room, I don't think, in there. But now, it's up to y'all.
I can't vote on it, y'all know that, because I'm his sister, but I have one comment. Our budget is pretty much set, and would you be willing to do it, continue to do it for the 1,600 if the council approves it?
I would till the end of this year, but as you see, I mean, you know, these people, you know, I mean,
Well, we
that's
can
a lot.
reset the budget for
Yeah,
next
yeah.
year, you know.
And I think what y'all need to do is pick one of those three from this time, I think, besides going through the whole motion. We'll have to talk to the attorney, but I mean, I don't see why going through the motions again if one of those agrees to do it, if you wanted them to do it next year. And like I say, you can go ahead and do it again this year. We're talking about 6 months, so that's what, June, July, August, September, October.
November,
No.
December.
So,
Starting 1 June,
so 7 months.
July, August, September.
So,
December, so 7 months.
So it's 4,
7 times 2.
well, it's actually 4.
Which will include heritage things.
7. So that's an increase of $2,800.
For the remainder of the year.
Yes, for the remainder. So,
So you can't go back and, I see that they put their bids in, we can't renegotiate their bids?
no, because see, you would, I mean, I don't think legally you could.
No.
I mean, because that's coming back and saying, hey, there's
You would have to re-advertise, and then you would have to say, okay, we will not accept any bids over this amount,
Yeah.
and see if anybody would be willing to do it for that
And
amount.
you didn't do that this time, you just.
No,
said,
no, I mean, all I did was, you know, I just told them the maintenance bid was up. I give them the contract or a sheet that had all the duties and stuff on there, and they came by, picked them up, and then submitted the bids. So I didn't give them any information other than, you know, that this is what you had to do. So now, I mean, we can go do that. I mean, we can go back and rebid this and say, we can't accept anything over $1,600.
But by the time we do that, the mowing season's gonna be over.
Well, no, I mean, you can do it. I mean, we can do it and have it next month. I mean, if that's what you want to do.
What I'm saying is that if you're locked, if we vote for one of those, we're locked into that price, and I don't have the ability to say, hey, we need bids to be this max, and we stay at that 1,600 and just rebid.
I mean, we can't, well, I mean, we can rebid and say, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to talk to the town attorney and see. I mean, I don't know. And I keep talking to Ralph, but I mean, he's seen a lot of stuff at Nelson and some other places. I mean, I don't know if that's.
You do not have to accept it.
I mean, you don't have.
Again, you need to talk to Jeff and confirm.
Right.
But I've seen Nelson, as a matter of fact, Nelson's got a program, you weren't there the other night. Nelson's got a bid out right now for a lot of drainage work. And it's gonna be substantial. And the prices came in, only 2 contractors bid on it. And based on the recommendation of the engineer on the project, they are going back and going to ask for it to be rebid. So, you know.
Now, I will tell you this, that 8 people picked up a package, because I counted the packages, you know, that I left out. So 8 people done it. And I want to tell you, each one of these said, I thought it was just mowing. I mean, each one of these said, I just thought it was mowing. There was a lot more than what I thought.
Even though the list was pretty
Yeah.
much, was pretty
Well,
detailed.
no, I mean, when you say town maintenance, they're thinking mowing. That's all they're thinking. You know, they're not thinking about all the other stuff and everything. But I can't legally, as mayor, say, keep the bid, or keep the money, or keep doing it without going through the process. Is my thing.
So can we make, Cheryl, can we make a motion? Because you were doing it this last month, right?
Yes, I don't like.
So can we make a motion for you to continue doing it one more month, to send these bids out and say, we need you to, the bids can no longer be.
To do a
this.
rebid?
Yeah, to do a rebid to meet that ceiling that we have.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, nobody else is gonna do it.
Not
Because-
even if you up it to that 1,900, but what you originally had?
Well,
Not even
this, no, because I talked to him first, and he didn't want it. I talked to him.
We pretty much begged him to put in a bid.
Yeah,
He really didn't want it.
yeah. See, the problem is, y'all have to realize is that you gotta come by and open the park, close the park, come in between the parks, the parties, and then you have to mow, you have to furnish your own gas and everything. And lawnmowers and
See
everything.
this guy right here.
And-
So this guy's aware of it.
Yeah.
He's Dusty. He knows
Yeah.
about all the things you just
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
You showed him that and he said,
Yeah.
yes, I'm good with that and this is what we did.
Yes.
But he wasn't, to
Well,
begin with, he wasn't aware that how much maintenance was involved.
right, tell you what.
He pretty much thought it was just a mow.
Roger. But then he does now know and that's why he has this bid.
So, and I guarantee this guy right here will not budge off of that, because I was going to.
Cause he called me about it and I said, I'll have to talk to Randy, and I went back to him and I said, we can't discuss it with you.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, that's up to y'all. I mean, it's like he said, you don't have to accept the bids, but, you know, we can run it in the paper again and see if we get anybody else, but I guarantee you won't. I mean, be honest, because I run it for 2 full weeks in the paper, and this is the 3 we got.
Are you saying that as the mayor, you can't be?
Well, no, I can do it,
You
but I
can
can't,
do it,
but I think you have to offer it to everybody else.
Okay. So we have offered it to everybody else
Yes.
and we
This is
will
one.
vote on it to see if we agree or not agree on those bids. And then what would be the next action? If we said
you can
no?
go in executive session and discuss whether or not you want to accept one of these bids.
Yeah.
If you don't want to accept those, you do have the power, now I can't vote, but y'all do have the power to let Randy continue doing it till the end of the year
All right,
for the
let's-
1,600.
Let's do that.
So y'all,
Now, is that a fair way to do it?
Sounds reasonable to me.
I mean, you know,
I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do it for 1,600.
well, I'll be honest with you, I've sort of got commitments to the end of the year, but I mean, you know, $2,000 is nothing. I mean, especially when you're having to provide everything that you own to do it. I mean, you know, and, you know, and I do a lot, and
If you sat down and did hourly, how many hours do you spend on it?
Dusty,
A lot.
Dusty's new to the town. He bought Mark Grizzle's place, Roy Quinton's place. And he asked me one day, he says, what do you do?
What does he know?
No, he was asking me, what do I do as far as, you know, a job? And he thought I was full-time here.
Like I said, Lisa owns, my wife owns a house on the hill. So Lisa was born and raised here. I don't know if y'all know my wife. And I've been here 40 years. We live down the road, but I've known Randy and I've known her, but since I've been here, how long have I been hanging around town now? A couple months?
Yeah,
Yeah, and one of the things that's drawn me to this and wanting to, like me and Randy, we're doing some improvements together right now. And one of the things that's drawn me is, this guy's always doing something. Like, I've never seen anybody, he's always downtown doing something. I'm like, dude, what is your job? So I'm very, I'm glad to have a mayor like that. I mean, you know, here, it makes me want to get more involved in this, because he's on board with whatever's good for this town, he's on board for it. So, and I'm the same way. I just want to fit in and do, like after I bought the property, I was starting to do some stuff and I kept asking for his permission. He's like, it's your property. I'm like, no, I don't want to do anything I want to be a compliment to the town. So he asked me to come to this meeting tonight because I was interested in this right here. So, but you know, we're real excited about our new purchase, and we want to hang out a lot over here. We're excited about our new business here. So,
Okay. Me and him have talked about his plans, and it's going to fit right into the town's plans and stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, the 1,600, and I can't say, I don't know if it would be legal or not. I mean, yeah, I don't like the 1,600, but that's what we agreed on, so I mean, I can't do anything about that for the rest of this year.
Melissa, to answer your question, Randy sat down, before Chad left, and he started figuring out the hours that they were actually putting in and doing the jobs. And they were, at an hourly, $15, wasn't it?
$15.
They were losing over $2,000 a month.
Now, that's not even counting the fuel and stuff for the lawnmowers and weed eaters and maintenance.
That comes out of that 1,600?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, see, all that comes out. See, I mean, well, I provide everything, and that's, we won't get into that, but I mean, we provide all the equipment, the hand tools, everything. The city, the only thing the city provides is like garbage bags, weed killer, any supplies, you know. But as far as tools and stuff, we provide all that.
This session can't be used to discuss increasing that 1,600, because that's already been voted on, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
That's what
it's
next
on the agenda, so I mean, you could if you wanted to. But,
But now, if
I'm gonna
you,
be-
but if you increase it to 2,000, you would have to give it to Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
No, but it was 19 before.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, but you know, like I say, I'll stand by my word and say 16 the rest of the year. But that's up to y'all. But like I say again, as y'all hear, it's worth a lot more. I mean, it's a lot more. Now, if y'all want to go into the executive session and discuss it with y'all three, y'all can go ahead and then come back and we can put it up to vote.
Okay. All right. So Cheryl, at this point, what do? We've discussed it, we want to put it to a vote.
you have to make a motion on what you want to do and include the price you're willing to pay.
Okay, so we would like to make a motion to decline these 3 quotes and stay with our original budget of $1,600 a month for town maintenance.
Until the end of the year.
Till the end of the year, yes, correct.
Right, so now you need a second.
Do I have a second?
I say, oh, go ahead.
Okay, I think you need to include who. I guess
Yeah,
who
you gotta
is it?
name who you're gonna give it to for the 1,600.
So I have a question. So how do we move forward if majority of the town council feels that we need to increase that $1,600 even though we already budgeted? Am I locked into that budget?
You can include it in your motion.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. You could say that you, after the executive session, you have agreed to decline the 3 bids that you received. You would like to award the bid to Randy Banks, but you also want to increase the amount.
To whatever amount.
Yes,
Yeah.
I got it. I got it.
What she said.
Hmm?
He said, what she said.
Oh.
All right, let's see if I can do this right. I make a motion that after reviewing the 3 bids, that we decline the 3 bids based on our current budget of $1,600. I make a motion that we continue with Randy Banks to do the lawn maintenance. I can make a motion to increase that to $1,800 a month.
Okay, do I have a second?
I say,
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to decline these bids and to accept me to continue on doing the town maintenance and increase it to $1,800 a month. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay. Carry. Okay, the next one is vote on town clerk. We had 2 applicants.
one of them was,
Well, let's just say Rachel.
Rachel and Jenna.
The 2
Yeah,
the 2
Rachel and
resolutions
Jen.
sent out.
Right. And what is Rachel's last name? Sorry,
Jones.
Jones, Rachel
Jones.
Jones. She doesn't work anymore, and after talking to her, she is willing to come on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to town hall from, say, around 12 o'clock or somewhere around there till 4, through the summer, to do work for the town in there, maintain, cleaning the room and stuff, especially if we're gonna have, renting out a lot. And she's also, agreed to keep eye on the park, during the week on Monday and Wednesday and Fridays. And, what she'll do is, she'll go over there and make sure the trash and stuff like that's been emptied and, you know, make sure everything's going good over there, because since we put in the new playground equipment, it has been packed. I mean, as y'all have seen, I mean, it has been packed. So she has agreed to do that, and she has agreed to do it to a set salary. And if she needs to do a little bit more in the summertime, because I told her in the wintertime it's going to be dead, that she wouldn't have to come over. But that would give us somebody in the office 3 days a week, especially in the summertime, and that people can come and meet, do business, and, you know, answer phone calls and work on the ordinances and resolutions and stuff that we can get ready, that we want to put on the books for the town. And she can get all that ready, and then we can hand it, once we were good with it, we can hand it to our attorney, and he can overlook it and make sure everything looks good. And that saves us from having to pay $125 an hour to, you know, letting her do it. And like I say, there's a lot of things, like I say, Buffy is just too busy, and I think that she will contribute and actually do a good job. I think she will. If she does it, we'll continue looking. But I think she would be a good fit. I asked her if she would be willing to do some of those things. Even open the schoolhouse. I mean, we went in the schoolhouse today. I had a contractor looking at it, and but you know, we can schedule for classes, you know, school classes and stuff, to schedule with her. And she can open it up and let school kids visit, or any group that wants to, at those days that she's there. So I think she's going to be a good, yes, to the town. So anyway, so we budgeted $600 a month for the town clerk's position. I told her with all the things that she's going to do, that we would pay her $800 a month. That was straight. It doesn't matter, you know, hours. I mean, she needs to be there doing something. But I mean, you know, those hours. And then, like I say, in the wintertime, she doesn't have to come over as often because it's not as busy. And she's willing to do every other weekend to the park, of coming over and checking the park. You know, that would give me a break from doing it 7 days a week also. So that being said, what we've paid Buffy so far, we have enough in the budget itself that we haven't paid her that would cover the increase for the rest of the year, for the $800 a month. So we've got the increase. And like I say, we had $1,600 for training, and we're not going to use that amount, so that we can use that too towards that and everything. So I think we'd be good to go. And like I say, we'll give her a try, and if she doesn't, like I say, we'll find somebody else. Because I think at $800, I think you're wanting a lot more from what Buffy could give, and I think you're going to get that. Because $300, you know, we had a Natasha, she can make $300 at FATS in 3 days. I mean, you know, you see, you got to get somebody that's make it worthwhile for them to be dedicated to town. And she doesn't work anywhere. She lives over on J. Moss Lane, which is over by Blaine Lodge. So she's real close. So it's not that far from her. And like I say, I think we give her a try, and if it doesn't work out, we set her down the road and get somebody else. I mean,
But I was very impressed with some of the terminology she used as far as the QuickBooks and stuff. You could tell that she knew what she was doing. I was just.
Here's a resume.
Yeah, I saw it. It's
You
good.
did like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need somebody in there working all the time. 'cause I mean.
It'll make
we
it
can-
easier to book the parties in the park if they can come by and see her and drop off their money. You know, then if people has a question, they can come in, there's somebody there on set days, and I think, and by doing it salary, I think we're gonna come out to the better.
All right, so do we want to put it to vote?
I make a motion that we award the town clerk position to Rachel Jones. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and that we set her salary at $800 a month with her doing the extra work that we want her to do.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay. All right, the last item is set qualifying dates for upcoming election. And what we have to do is we have to set, you know, a couple of days up for qualifying. You know, you have to go out there and sign up, and then you pay your fee, which is only $1, to run for a seat. And my seat's coming up, Caleb's,
And Melissa.
Melissa, I think, is coming up. So Nelson and Jasper,
Because she filled a vacancy.
yes,
Oh.
yes, Jesse's
See,
seat.
she took Jesse's seat, so Jesse's would have been coming up this year, that's why.
Right. Okay, so Nelson and Jasper set their qualifying days up to a week. So it's 5 days. So I think we need to set it the same, you know, the 5 days. So with that being said, do I have a motion to set the qualifying dates?
But what, when do they need to be?
Do you remember what they said? I can't even remember what they said.
No. All I know is that it was 5 days.
I know it has to be by the 19th because it has to be in by the
The
19th.
19th of,
Yeah,
Yeah.
August.
Here, oh, you want qualifying dates?
Yes.
Hold on.
Thank you, Mary.
I was at the city today. I took a picture. I think it's the August 19th through the 23rd from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m.
19th.
Is the week,
Through the
yeah.
23rd?
Yeah. Qualifying will take place.
Is that August?
And there'll be an official announcement, yeah,
Yeah,
August. I think next week there'll be official announcement from the elections office.
So do it from, say, 9 to 4:30 every day?
Well, whatever the election, whatever was 8, did you say it was 8 o'clock to 4:30?
Hold on a second.
Well, that's, I think.
They said 4:30, 8 to 4. Yeah, they open at
Helping it.
8, but they close for lunch, I think, so there will be a close for lunch
Yeah,
thing
well, I mean,
during this. 8:30 to
Okay.
4:30 is when they're open, 8:30 to 4:30.
okay.
Okay. I make a motion that we set our qualifying dates for the upcoming election for August the 19th through the 23rd, from 8 to 4:30, which will be at the Pickens County election office.
Okay, I have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay. I just want to make a quick note, because I want y'all to be thinking, because we had the first meeting for the next round of splash, which will be voted on in August, and it will take effect. This one will continue to next June, and I guess this one will pick up from there and go 6 years, if I'm correct. But I met with Rob Jones and other mayors and stuff. And so anyway, we need to start thinking about projects. I had mentioned a couple things, you know, vitalizing more of Main Street there, the field, the septic system up here, and the park. I also mentioned him about doing an intergovernment agreement or a partnership of, you know, helping with some of their splash funds to upgrade our park. So I discussed that. And at the current time, we get 0.22% of the splash, which is about $67,000. So I told him that I'm gonna be asking for more this year. Not just based on population. Mayor Weaver from Jasper agreed that it doesn't need to be just based on population. It needs to be based on services and everything, into the pot. You know, I was thinking, you know, say like 30% or 30 to 40, somewhere around in there. So we're gonna be discussing that. So hopefully, you know, we'll get, you know, maybe 30 more thousand or so out of the splash if it passes.
We're getting what now?
0.22%. Nelson's getting 2.4%.
So you're saying go up to 0.30%?
Yes.
Okay, that's not what you said. You said 30 to 40%.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
And I'm like,
I'm sorry.
that ain't gonna happen.
I apologize. It's point 0.30 to 0.40. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so that's gonna be, you know, because like I say again, you know, everybody's got projects they have to do and everything, but like I say, I did say that we needed to have a bigger slice of it. So anyway, so I want y'all to be thinking of what y'all would like to see to be upgraded and stuff. And I'll tell you one thing that I would love for this town to have, and it doesn't have to be new, but we're gonna close this out, is a tractor, a small John Deere tractor, something like Mark Grizzle has. It has a backhoe attachment, it has a front end loader. You can take the backhoe attachment off, you can do bore hose with a attachment or a bush hog with it. A new one, a government contract is around 19,000, 18,000. But like I say, we don't have to have a new one. But I think the town with a bucket on the front to help with the mulch and stuff, because currently we are borrowing Charlie Offenhoff's tractor, and so I mean we've used it quite a bit lately. So that would be a good addition to the town. But like I say, we only have so much money, but that is a wish list. So I want y'all to come back by the next meeting and have some things. We might have to have a work session because we have some dates that we have to have things done so that it can get on the ballot in August. So I want y'all to think about that over the next month. If nothing else,
I make a motion we adjourn.